learning that the PL SQL, which is not a part of the syllabus, but I want everyone to know and have a proper understanding. At least you have a proper understanding what is happening in PL SQL. So let me just save it by today's date. So PL SQL is called as procedural. Okay.
Structure query language.
Yes, sir.
Yes, procedural structured query language.
Can you please give me the references?
Yeah, sure. Guys, please join on time. Okay, don't be late.
Yes, sir.
Rakesh. Yeah, I mean, actually. Hi guys, so your SQL is over, guys. We are going.
Sir.
Hi.
Good evening. Sir.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. So my Meenakshi, what I was telling is the SQL is over. Okay, the syllabus of SQL is all over. So we should know some of the things of PL SQL. We should have some understanding. Okay, what is PL SQL? So PL SQL is procedural structured query language. Okay. So it is basically a extension of what? Extension of SQL. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Extension of SQL. So here what happened? PL SQL is a programming language. First of all, what you understood? PL SQL is a programming language. Programming language means what, guys? Means we can use here the looping statements like for loop, while loop and all. We can use here conditional statements. Conditional statements means what? Like your if else, all those things we can use here. But SQL is not like that. SQL is what? Command line language. What is that? Command line language. That means we'll give a command like insert. Okay. Update, select, delete. Okay. So this is a command line language. This is not a procedural language. But PL SQL is what? A programming language where we can use the conditional statements, looping statements, all those things we can use in PL SQL. So that is what is, guys, the PL SQL. Okay. So PL SQL, what we have to know is that there are 4 sections in PL SQL. If you know, there's something called as declare. There's something called as begin. And there's something called as exception. And there's something called as end. So declare means we'll declare the variables. Begin means your PL SQL statements is starting. And here there will be a lot of code written. Whatever code we want, we can write here. And if there is any exception, then to handle that exception, we can write the code here. And the last phase is end. So this is an optional field. If we want, we can put any declaration of variables. This is a mandatory field. So to execute any PL SQL statements, we have to first declare, we have to first write begin, and we have to end it. So this is again a mandatory field. The rest all, guys, is a optional field. So ultimately in PL SQL, the mandatory fields are first of all begin and then end. Am I clear, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
This is very, very simple, guys. We can write these statements. Okay. Now, when we learn PL SQL, there are something called as, there are some topics what we learn here. That is functions. That is stored procedures. There's something called as triggers. Okay. And then, guys, we'll learn something called as index and then regular expression. And index and regular expression is some part of SQL also is involved here. And then functions, stored procedure, trigger, okay, cursor. These are completely, these 4 topics comes under PL SQL. So now, function, if you know, function are of how many types? There are 2 kinds of function, guys. What are the 2 kinds of function? 2 kinds of functions. One is user-defined function. Okay, user-defined function means what? User will define. Okay, he will write the code. And one is predefined functions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So which are the predefined functions? Again, it is divided into 2. I have taught you aggregate function. What are the aggregate function?
Mean, max, sum,
Yes, mean,
average,
max,
count.
yeah, mean, max, sum, count, all those things are aggregate function, okay? And then there is something called a scalar function. What are the scalar function? We know one output, one input, like mod. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes, upper.
Lower.
All these
Lower,
functions are
sub.
upper, lower, etc. So these are what, guys? Predefined. It's already defined. User defined function. We need to define the function, create the function, and use it. Then there is something called a stored procedure. So what is stored procedure? So it is basically stored procedure is a SQL statement. Generally, it is asked, what is stored procedure? This is a SQL statement stored in database. Okay. And we can execute this stored procedure n number of times. So any number of times we can just execute this stored procedure. How will create a procedure? Simple. Create
procedure name. Procedure
name. Suppose SP1 is procedure name. We
As.
can write as, or we can write is. Okay, anything we can write. Suppose I write any query, anything we can write. Suppose I write here DBMS. This is the output line. Okay, output underscore line. Okay, this is like system.println in Java, print in C. So they are using simply DBMS underscore output dot line. Okay, here. Okay, in the PL SQL. Okay, suppose I write hello, and then what will happen, guys? Create procedure name as and any query, and then end this procedure. So this is nothing but a simple procedure created. What will happen is when we want to execute a procedure, we have to use a keyword called as what, guys? Execute, and write here execute SP1, and the output will be hello. Okay. So this is what is a stored procedure, set of SQL query which is written and stored. And if we want to execute 100 times, 100 times, any number of times, we can just key the word execute and execute this stored procedure. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So,
sir.
this is a stored procedure, guys. Triggers. Now trigger is what? So suppose trigger will get trigger. Trigger will get triggered when generally a DML or a DDL or any server issues happen. Okay, any server event happens. Like suppose your server is shut down or like that. Generally, it is for DML activities. Whenever a DML DDL server event happen, trigger will get trigger. Trigger will get trigger. Again, this is a simple thing. So suppose if I have to create a trigger, so I have to write create trigger and then trigger name. Okay. Okay, before or after any DML. DML means it can be update, it can be insert or anything. Okay. On the table name. Okay. And then what will happen, guys? Your trigger will be created. Now there are two kinds of trigger. Which are the kinds of trigger? Two kinds of trigger. Now, what are the kinds of trigger? There is something called as row level trigger. And there is something called as what, guys? Statement level trigger or table level trigger. Statement level trigger or table level trigger. So what happens in row level trigger is we have to use the three words for each row. And for statement level trigger, we will not use. Suppose create trigger name before after update on table name. Here, if we use for each row, it will become a row level trigger. And if we don't use this for each row, then it will be a statement level trigger. So first of all, guys, the question asked is what is a trigger? So what you will tell? Trigger is a stored procedure. Again, it is a procedure. Procedure means a function. Okay, procedure is almost similar to a function. The only difference is function will have to return a value. Stored procedure may or may not return a value. That means it's a program, like C has a program, Java has a program, like that. It is a procedure, okay, and which will get triggered whenever any DML or DDL activities is happening or a server issues, server event is happening, trigger will trigger. That's all is a trigger. Suppose an insert is happening, trigger will get triggered. If a update is happening, trigger will get triggered. Now there are two kinds of trigger: row level trigger and statement level kind of trigger. So what is the difference here is, so if a trigger is created at a row level for EMP table, and suppose EMP table is having 14 records, then what will happen? If we update a record, okay, here, what will happen? Set sal equals to sal plus 100. And whatever statement we have written here, suppose create trigger name for each row before update on table EMP. Okay, suppose the table name is EMP. Now what will happen is, trigger has been created that before or after the update. Suppose I write before update, if there is some records getting updated on this EMP table, what should happen is this trigger should get triggered. Okay. Now, here what will happen is 14 records will get triggered and all the 14 outputs will get. If we write a DBMS statement here, I'll show in depth. Now I'm just telling you, if we write a output statement here, output statement here, 14 times we will get the output in row level trigger. But in statement level trigger, we will get the output once only. So what is the difference, guys? In row level trigger, for every row, we will get one output. But for statement level trigger, how many times we will get the output, guys? Can you just tell me? Only once. Only once. Again, I'll tell you these things in depth. Now, after that, guys, cursor. What is a cursor? Cursor is a pointer to the context area. Context area means what? The area where the SQL is getting executed. That is called as context area. Where context area means where the SQL is getting executed. So that is called as what, guys? Cursor. Now there are two types of cursor, guys. One is implicit cursor and one is what, guys? Explicit cursor. So implicit cursor, what will happen is, we do not need to create it. It gets created by itself. There are 4 keywords here, like percentage found, percentage not found, percentage is open, and okay, percentage row count. So they are asking what are the attributes of a cursor. So you have to tell all those things. These are the 4 attributes. Found means if a DML activity is happening and then it is found, then it will return true. Not found means if a DML activity, if it is not happening, then it will return true. Is open means what? Every time it will be false, as because the SQL query once executes and then the cursor is closed already. So it will return always false. Row count, the how many rows got affected. How many rows got affected. This is called as what? Implicit cursor. Explicit cursor, we need to explicitly create it. So to creating a cursor, first we have to create the cursor. And to create a cursor, we have to, first of all, declare a cursor, open a cursor, fetch a cursor, and then close a cursor. After doing all those things, a particular explicit cursor will be created. After this, guys, there is something called as index, which is generally asked. This is the important question. What is an index? What is an index? So what is the answer for this? What is an index? Anyone knows?
It is used to retrieve the data from the database.
Yes. So first of all, index is a database object, okay? For fast retrieval of data. Do you remember index anywhere in the book or in the dictionary, we have index, right? For faster retrieval of data. That is called as index. So what is the advantage? What is the advantage? Now, if someone will ask you, what is the advantage? What you will tell? Performance of what? Performance of read operation. Read operation means what? Select query. Select query is called as what? Read operation. And write operation means that update, delete, insert. These are called as write operation. Okay. Performance of the read operation will be fast. Or performance will be better. Okay. Because we have put an index, so it can use the index to fetch the particular record. Now, what is the disadvantage? Now they are asking, what is the disadvantage? Once they ask this question, what is the disadvantage of index? So what is the answer? Disadvantage is what? Write operation. Write operation means what, guys?
Insert, update, delete.
Insert, update, delete. Performance will lose. Insert, update, or delete. Performance will be low. Why performance will be low? Because we have created an index, right? If we delete a record, now again index needs to be updated accordingly, right? So the performance will be low. Fine, guys. And now this is the question asked from index, that's all. But we should also know there are two kinds of index. One is called as clustered index. And one is called as what, guys?
Non-clustered.
Non-clustered index. So what is first of all, how to create an index? That's the main thing. How to create an index? How to create an index? The first thing is what? Simple. Create index name. Whatever you want to put, you can put the index name. Then
on table name.
Then to whatever the table name is there, table name, and bracket you have to write what, guys?
Columns.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
And if you want to see the indexes, what is the query?
SP. Actually, in Oracle, sir, I don't.
Underscore indexes. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can write to complete select star from user indexes. Now, if we want to create a clustered index, what we'll do? Instead of index, what we'll write? We'll write here clustered index. And if we want to create a non-clustered index, we'll write here, guys, what? Non-clustered index. That's all. So what is the difference? The difference is what guys, clustered index. What will happen? It is generated by itself. Okay. If the table has a primary key. Table has a primary key, it will get generated by itself. Okay. Data will be sorted. And the retrieval of data will be done because it is with the table. And if there is no primary key, we can just create the clustered index. But what is the non-clustered index? Non-clustered index will be based on like a book. In book, what happens? First, an index is there. Based on the index, it will go to the table, search the data, and then find the data. So here the retrieval is different. It is here clustered index. It is like a dictionary. In dictionary, what happens? The data are given in a shorted way. We can just go and search the data. But here it is not like that. Here the data is like a book. From the book, first we'll find a particular data and then we'll go to that table and then get the data. And if the data is not present, again, we'll have to search it manually. So that is what is non-clustered index. So whose performance will be better, guys? Performance will be better. Whose?
Clustered.
Yeah, clustered index performance will be better because here we don't need to go to a separate index and search the value, then search the data in the table. So the performance wise, clustered index performance is better. Now there is something called as regular expression. It is used to find for finding a particular string or a number. What we have to learn here is also called as regexp. we have to find here is just we have to run regex replace. This is the function we have to learn. And here we have to get the question asked is this is like this ABC 1 2 3 4, or it is like this 1 2 3 4 and something, some other characters are there. Now the query is what, guys? Query to find the numbers, and another query is query to find the characters. So what we have to do is we will use this reg expression, and then we have to use this replace, and then we have to just suppose this is a particular string. Oh, we can just take this string, okay, in single quotation, and then if from this string what we don't want is that the negation sign is written like this, and then in the bracket what we don't want is the anything apart from that. Suppose I want only number, so I have written 0 to 9, and then what will happen is, guys, if I write from 12, then what will happen is apart from number anything is there, just replace it, just remove this. So this is what is the query. So what will be the output of this query is 1 2 3 4. And there is one more query to get only the alphabets and not the number. So what we will do is we'll just write here A to Z. Any numbers are there, we can just remove that. We can just keep that. Apart from that, anything is there, just remove that. So the output will be like this. So what happens here? This tells what? Just keep this negation of A to Z. Means A to Z you keep, and real rest you just replace it with nothing. That means replace it and remove it. It will get removed because there's nothing. So that is what is the query to get the characters. This is the query to get the number. This is what is the regular expression. So this is what is the guys overall understanding. Let me just repeat it before going to the depth. SQL is what? A program. SQL is a what? A language. To what is SQL, guys? SQL is a language to access the database. Okay. So SQL is what, guys? A command line language. Yes or no, Meenakshi?
Yes, sir.
SQL is what? A command line language. We are giving the command like
Command.
insert, update, delete, and all. PL SQL, on the other hand, is a programming language where we have 4 things: declare, begin, exception, and end. These are things are optional. The mandatory thing is begin and end. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Function is of how many types? 2 kinds of function: user defined and predefined.
Predefined.
Predefined like mean, max, these are aggregate function, and scalar function like mod, upper, and all. And then the user defined function, we need to write it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
then there is something called as stored procedures. The question is what is a stored procedure? What you have to tell? Stored procedure is a SQL statement stored in a database, and we can execute this stored procedure n number of time once it is created. Okay. Once it is created, we can use it any number of time. The syntax is what? Create procedure, procedure num as or is, and then you can just write here begin and end. If you want, you can write here begin, and then this is what closing, and then hello. And if you want to execute a stored procedure, we have to use a keyword called as what? Execute, and the stored procedure name, and we'll get the output. Clear, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And there are parameters, guys, which is used actually by the PL SQL developers, not for you, but I'll tell you some things. Input parameter, output parameter, input output parameters. I'll discuss that also. As of now, what will be asked from you is what is the stored procedure, what is this used? Stored procedure SQL statement which is stored in the DB can be executed n number of time. Syntax is create procedure, procedure name as, and then begin and end, and then we can execute it. How to execute a stored procedure? The answer is execute and the procedure name. Parameters in out and in out, input out in and input a parameter, output parameter, input and output parameter. This we'll see separately. Then there is something called as trigger. So trigger is again a procedure which will get trigger whenever a DML or a DDL event happens. So now how to create a trigger? Create trigger name before after update on table name. And for row level, we have to write a keyword called as what? For each row. The difference between row level and statement level is row level, all the 14 records will get updated and will get output 14 times. But in statement level, only once it will get updated and will get only one output. Then we talked about the cursor. The cursor is a pointer to the context area. Context area means where the SQL is getting executed. It will just point to that particular area. If a record is getting inserted, deleted, updated, it will just point to that particular area. There are two kinds of cursor, implicit and explicit. Implicit cursor, what will happen? It get created by itself, okay? And the keywords are percentage found, not found, is open, row count. Percentage found is true. When it is true, when a DML activity actually occurs. And this is percentage not found. It will be true when guys? When DML does not happen. And is open is always false, guys, because the cursor will get, it will not be open because after executing SQL query, cursor gets closed. So it will be always false. Percentage row count will give the number of rows affected by cursor. Explicit cursor, we need to create it. We have to declare a cursor, open a cursor, fetch a cursor, and close a cursor. In detail, we will see now. Next thing we learned is index. What is an index? Index is a database object for fast retrieval of data. Advantage, performance of read operation. Disadvantage, write operation performance will be low. Now, how to create an index? Create index name on table bracket column name. Then there are two kinds of clustered and non-clustered. Clustered gets created by itself. It is one in a table. Non-clustered index, we need to create it, right, guys? And if a table is having primary key, it gets created by itself, clustered index, else we will have to create it. But the cluster index is associated with the table like a dictionary, so its performance will be faster. Non-cluster index is like a book. First, we'll have to go to the book index. From there, we have to go to the table data and then find out. So the performance wise cluster index will be better. Regular expression for finding a particular string or a number. And what we have to learn is that in this character and number, we have to find a particular number. So what we have taken negation of 0 to 9. And then we have got this. And then here we have taken negation of A to Z. That means we want A to Z and remove anything. That is what we have taken regular expression replace. Am I clear till this much, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the basic thing. That is what you have to know. Now what we are going to learn is, guys, we are going in a developer mode and we are going in a data depth. So let us just see, guys. Let us just try to understand the developer's point of view. So let me just, I have made a separate material only for PL SQL so that you can go anytime from here. So I have written here, first of all, excuse me, guys. Yeah, PL SQL is a procedural structured query language, is an extension to SQL. SQL is a command line language. PL SQL is a programming language having loop condition, if else condition, etc. PL SQL is a block structure language that we have multiple blocks in it. Okay. And PL SQL can have the loop, array, and a string collection, trigger, function, procedure, cursor, etc. 4 parts in PL SQL: declare, begin, exception, and end. So if we come here, so we'll see declare. One section is declare, next is begin, next is exception, that is end. I told you begin and end are the mandatory section, declare and exception is the optional section. Clear, guys? Yeah, till here? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now function are of two, how many types?
Predefined function and
types.
user-defined function.
User-defined function.
Yeah.
User-defined is one who creates, and predefined is aggregate function and what function? Scalar function. Now, creating a function, guys. How to create? Create function, function name, parameter if any. Replace is for modifying the function. Is then variable, begin and end, any statement. This is a return expression, return type. I told you function must return a value. So always we have to specify the return type. Now let us just see here. This is the syntax: create or replace, function, function name, and the parameters. Now parameter name, it is an input type parameter, output type parameter, input output type parameter, return, and the return data type is or as, begin, function body, end. So So let us just see, guys, this is a function. If you want to create a function, we'll write create or replace function name. And then it's a return type. Suppose return type is date. So we have written return. The type is date. Then is, and then this is a variable. Suppose v underscore date. And this variable is of what type? Is of date type. Now this is begin and this is end. If you see here, sys colon I am using, colon is used to fetch the values in PL SQL. So system date I am putting into the v underscore date, this variable, and return v date. That means the value return will be what? In this return statement will be v date. That means what will be the output of this function if I create, guys? Do you know? What value will be returned here? V date. Yes or no, guys? And
Yes.
what is v date, guys? System date. System date is what? Today's date. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes. So we will get the output as what? System date. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So this is what is a function. If I want to create, how will I create a function? I'll go to a SQL developer. Any SQL developer I'll go, okay? You have a software, any software, you can just go here. Let me just open our own. Yes or no, guys? First, let me clear the screen. Now, if I want to create a function, I have written create or replace. This replace is not required. If you don't write also, then also is fine. Create or replace function name, return type is the date, this is the variable. This is v underscore date and the type is date, begin and end. And then we are putting this variable with the system date. So I have written sys date and here this is colon and equal to, that means this value is getting into this variable, which name is v date, and return is what? This variable date. This will be returned where? In this return function, and the output of this will be system date. Yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
What is the first output I'm getting? Function created. Yes or no, guys? Yes. Tell me yes or no? Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
now the function is created. How to create a function? Did you understood? Create function name, return type is, then variable name, then begin and then here the what we are doing, we are assigning the value, the system date in this particular variable, and then return of this particular variable that is going to the return, and it is returning. This is function is created. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we have created a function. Now what is the value? So what we'll write, we'll see the value. How can we see the value? We can just go here and execute what? This is the function f get date. Now we want to see the value. So what will be the value here, guys? Can you just tell me what will be this function return? System date. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
So
Sir.
what is system date?
Today's date, 27/12/2020.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
The function must return a value. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Did you understood how the function is created? Am I
Yes, sir.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, guys, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Next is, guys, is the trigger. What I told you, what is a trigger? Trigger is again a stored program. What will happen? It will get triggered whenever what will happen? A DML statement is executed, a DDL statement is executed, or a database operation like server error, log on, log off, startup or shutdown is happening. Then a trigger will get fired or triggered. Am I clear, guys? Yes or no? It is a stored program. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now, what is the use now to derive some column or enforcing a referential integrity, or we use for a security purpose if we want to know if a data is getting inserted, updated, deleted. These are the use. Okay. Now, how to create a trigger? Okay. So I told you the simple syntax. What is the syntax, guys? Can you just tell me? Create
Trigger name.
trigger name,
Trigger
then
name.
and for each row, what we have to take? For each row, do you remember that? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I will take the simplest trigger though, so that it becomes very, very easy, guys. I don't want to complicate the thing. Create or replace, if you want, you can put trigger name before update on EMP. begin and end. Let me just create this trigger, guys. Simple trigger. Let us just create it. Okay. Yeah. So let me just write down here. Okay. The trigger what we are going to create. This replace is an optional word. If we want to modify, we will use. Okay. This is the trigger I am using. Okay. I'm writing here keyword Monica. Okay. Now fine. Now this is begin end, and this is a dbms dot output dot put underscore line. This is the output statement. Yes or no, guys? This you have to remember. dbms underscore output dot put. This put is 2 times. Then underscore line. This is a 4 keyword. 1, 2, 3, 4. dbms underscore output, and then again dot, again put, and again line. Okay, and then any value. So now we are going to create a trigger, right? Yes or no, guys? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So what is the syntax? Create trigger name before I am writing. Okay. Before means the output should come before whatever we are writing here in the DBMS should come before update on EMP, and then begin and end. This is the output. It will come when you update a record in this EMP table. The output should come is Monica. Okay. Right. Fine. Yes. Let me just create a trigger. Trigger created. Yes or no, guys? Yes. Am I clear, guys? Tell me yes or no.
Yes.
So now there is something called as I'm getting some noise, guys. What is happening? So this is the set server output on. To get the outputs now, we always have to use this server output, else it will not execute. Okay. Yeah. So what will happen is first to get the output, this is a very, very important command. If we will not execute this query, then we will not get the output. So let me just I have written this query. Now let me just write this query with this thing. This will mean nothing, that the server output we have to make it on, else we'll not get the output. That's the thing. So that is what is the thing. So let us just write down the query. So where is our query? Yeah. So this is set server output on, and then you can just change the name. Yeah, this is the trigger TR3. So what we'll do is first we'll execute this. Okay, then we will do what? We'll write down our query. What is our query? This is our query, trigger query. Fine. Trigger is created, right, guys? Now, this is a statement level trigger or a row level trigger. Yeah, Monica, this is a statement level trigger or a row level trigger. Yeah, Meenakshi, this is a statement level trigger or row level trigger. See, if it is
Row level.
no, if we are not putting that for each row, that means it is a statement level trigger. Yes or no, guys? Yes. Only if what we'll put, if we'll put for each row, then it will be a row level trigger. This is a statement level trigger. Yes or no, guys?
Okay, yeah, got it, sir. Yeah.
For everything. Okay. So now, what is the trigger? Create trigger name before update. That means if we do any update statement, this trigger will get triggered. Yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Let us do a update statement. Update table name. Set sal equals to sal plus 100. Okay. Fine, guys. So now see here. Now see, guys. Have we when we put the update, did the trigger got triggered? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
See, this Monica is coming for what? For this particular trigger, TR2. And this Monica is coming for what? TR3. Yes or no, guys? Guys, tell me yes or no. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Meenakshi?
Yes, sir. I was just looking at the output and
What is happening here, Rakesh? What is happening? Can you just tell me? Trigger means what, guys? See, this output will come. Before that, it should get what? Triggered. Why it is got triggered? I've created a trigger. Its name is what? TR3.
E3.
Before the update,
Yeah.
this 14 record updated, before that I should get an output. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So what is the output? I'm getting Monica. This Monica is for the trigger TR2. This was also telling whenever we will write an update statement, Monica should come. And this trigger is, Monica is for what? For this trigger TR3. For this TR3, when a trigger gets triggered, we should get the output as Monica. Yes or no, guys?
Yes,
And
sir.
output
Yes,
is
sir.
coming how many times? For statement level trigger? Only once.
2 times.
Yes or no, guys? Only once. Yes or no?
Okay.
Yes.
So if we want to execute a row level trigger, so what will be the query, guys? Can you just tell me? What is the 3 magical word we will put here?
Update each row.
Each
row.
row.
That's all. No, that's all. Now I am putting the here Meenakshi. Okay. So now let us just see what happens. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So first we have to make this servlet on. Yeah. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now let us just put the query. Create a trigger name before update on EMP for each row, begin and end. This is a simple statement, dbms underscore output dot put underscore line and the particular statement. Yes or no, guys? Yes.
So
Trigger
TR3.
TR3 is already used. So you
Yes,
could have
yeah.
told
Yeah.
me, right? This trigger is already there. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let us just take this one. Okay, TR4. First, let us make the server output as on, else we'll not get the output. Okay. Fine, guys. Trigger created. Yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now if I'll do update, will the trigger get triggered?
Yes.
Yes.
How many times?
14.
14 times. Yes, because this is a row level
Row
trigger.
level. Yeah.
And for statement level trigger, how many times?
Once.
Only single.
How many times? 14 times.
14.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3. If you count here, yes or no, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Did you understood the difference between row level and statement level trigger?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
The
sir.
statement level trigger, how many times the trigger got triggered?
Once.
Once. Before this is the final statement. Before means what? First the trigger will happen, then your records output will get updated, right? So here
Yeah.
what will happen? Here only once, because it's a statement level trigger or table level trigger. The entire trigger will trigger only once for the entire statement. But here it is not like that. For each row means for every row, the trigger will trigger. For 14 records, 14 times this trigger has triggered. Am I clear, guys? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Did you understood what is a trigger?
Yes, sir.
Trigger will trigger whenever a DML or DDL statement will occur, right? And
Yeah.
then there are how many types of trigger?
Two
Two
types.
types.
What are the types?
Statement
Statement
level
level
and row
and
level.
row level.
Row level. And row level, what is the keyword we have to use?
For each
For
row.
each row.
For each row. If you're not using for each row, it will become a statement level trigger. And the difference is what? This row level
Statement
trigger
level.
will get executed for every row. But the
Yeah.
statement level trigger will execute only
Single row.
Once.
Did you got some understanding, guys? What is the trigger? Why we use and how we use? Yes or no, guys? What is the syntax? Yes or no,
Yes.
guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
No, guys. Now let us learn, guys, stored procedure. What I told you, what is a stored procedure? Set of SQL queries written and that can be executed n number of times. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now in stored procedure, what happens, guys, is the question asked is procedure and function. What is the difference? The difference is what? You have to remember function must return a value. Procedure may or may not return a value. Procedure, you can understand to remember procedure is like a boss. Procedure may or may not return a value, but function must return a value. Procedure can call a function, but function cannot call a procedure. Okay. Function can have only input parameters, but procedure can have what? Input or output parameters. These are the 3 difference, guys, which you should know. Sometimes they ask what is the difference between function and procedure. So function must return a value. Stored procedure is optional. It may or may not return a value. Function can have only input parameter, but stored procedure can have input as well as output parameter. Function can be called from a procedure, but procedure cannot be called from a function. Let
Sir,
us
but,
understand. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, at that second sentence, functions can have only input parameters.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but if the function has to return the value, then it should have
Like
a
because it has a
output.
return type, right? It
Okay.
gives output based on the return type. I showed you a function, right? Just now. How we saw the output? Did you saw that? Just now I
Yes,
created a function. Do you remember that?
yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah. So how the output came here? Because it has a return type, right? Now the data
Yeah.
type is what? Date. So based on that, it has given the output. I wrote a select query, select this function from the dual, I got the output, right? So it does not have any output parameter. It has what? Return date, return type. That is why it does not have only output parameter. It only has what? Input parameter. But stored procedure has both input as well as output parameter. That is what we are going to see.
Sir,
Now,
but if the data which functions needs to return, if the data type is something different than date, like
yeah,
character or
it can be
value or
number or
something.
character. Then the return type needs to be changed here, right? Whatever return it will be there. That the same data type you have to see select. If it is number, I will take a number value here because the data type should be same. Then only we can return the value. As the number cannot return a value of date, then it will generate error.
Okay.
No. Now, guys, these things I have told you already: declaration part, executable part, exception handling, and all those things. These three parts already I have discussed you, 4 parts. So now what I wanted to tell you is how to create a procedure. Let us just see using which parameters, guys? Input and output. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So first, let us create a small procedure. Okay, let us create a small procedure. Okay, like this is a procedure I'm creating. Okay. Yeah. I'm writing all the queries here so that you can practice at your own. This is a small procedure whose name is greeting. Okay, fine. Create procedure name, leave this replace. Create procedure name as begin dvms output.println, and this is the end. And if we want to see the output, we have to set the server output on. This is the query we are going to execute, begin and end. Let us just execute this very simple query. Fine, guys, this is on. Now we will create a procedure. How to create? Create procedure name as begin and end. Let us just execute this. Yes or no, guys? Procedure is executed. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can
So
see.
now this is a procedure which is executed, guys. This is what is a created procedure. If we want to execute it, we have to use a keyword called as execute. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
So what is the output I am getting? Hello world.
Hello world.
So guys,
Yeah.
did you understood the procedure? Any
Yes.
number of time I can use. I have to just use what? Execute and the procedure name.
Procedure name.
And I don't have to write the entire query again and again, right?
Yeah.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now are you understanding why we are storing our SQL queries and we can execute n number of times? Yes or no, guys?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That is what is a stored procedure. Now,
Mhm.
to execute it, we'll use the keyword called as execute. This is very simple procedure I have created to show you, but there is no parameter. Let us understand there are 3 kinds of parameter. Input parameter will take the input, output parameter will give the output, output will take the input and give the output. So let us just create a procedure, guys, to understand how to use this input and output parameter and all those things so that we get a clear understanding. Fine, guys, let me just come and open a input, output, and all those queries so that the concept gets completely clear. So now we are going to use this particular query to see the input and output and all those things. Thank you. Yeah. Now I've written a query, create procedure name, and E in is input variable. So I have written as IN. If you take a column name, suppose any name you can take. As of now, we have taken E. And then the parameter type is what? Input parameter. So I have to use a keyword in, and the data type is number. So I have used as number. Now, comma, this is again variable amount, and the parameter is what, guys? Again, it is which type of variable, input or output? If it is input, I have to use a parameter in, and the data type is number. And again, this is S, and this S is again, what is the, guys? This is the output type parameter. So I've used the keyword out, and the data type is what? Number. And then is begin, and then what I've written, update emp set sal equals to sal plus amount. Okay, where employee number equals to E. So now this is the use of input parameter. What is that? This E is an input parameter which we have to enter. This amount is an input parameter which we have to enter, and this entered value will be stored where? In the employee number. This entered value of the amount will be added to this salary, and this will be then updated in the EMP table of this salary column. So there are how many inputs here? Two inputs. Which are the inputs? One is the amount and one is the E. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So what happens? Simple. There are two input parameters. Input parameter we have to input. Simple. So what we have to write? We have to write on the right hand side of the equal to. We have to write where? In the right hand side of the equal to. E equals to employee number, amount per salary equals to salary. These are the input parameters. And we will commit it. And then this is select into query. I told you select into query. Suppose select, we have to select the data from the table. So what we'll do? Select sal. First of all, we are selecting this sal into what, guys? Into S. Now, what is this S, guys? S is an output parameter, right? So what we have to select? We have to select this sal, and that we have to put into the output parameter from which table? From this EMP table, and where what? Employee number equals to E, and E is an input parameter, and then we will end it. This is your procedure. Now, please first of all understand again. Create procedure name. What are the input parameters? E is an input parameter, amount is an input parameter. What is the output parameter?
S.
Now, is mandatory syntax, begin is mandatory syntax, end is mandatory syntax. Now come here. We are updating a record. What is the syntax to update? Update table name, set sal equals to sal plus amount. Yes or no, guys? And this amount is what? Is the input parameter, where employee number equals to E. This E is an input parameter. And then we are committing this update statement. And these input things will go into what parameter? Into the output parameter. How to use the output parameter? Using select sal into. Select with into. What we'll do? Select sal into S in this output parameter from this employee table, where employee number equals to E. Now, employee number equals to E means what? E is again an input parameter. So we are selecting that for that particular employee number, whatever employee number will be given from E, that will go into this employee table, and that will go into the output parameter. That is nothing but your S. From here, see, we are updating this table for that same employee number, and where it is updated, the salary is updated with the input parameter amount and the same employee number. For this employee number, we are updating the salary, and that employee number only we are using in the output parameter. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what we'll do first, we'll create a procedure. Yes or no?
Yes.
So let us just create. I'm just changing the name as 11. Let us execute it. Yes. Is the procedure created? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how to execute the procedure? Do you remember that? What I told you? What is the keyword?
Execute procedure name.
Execute procedure name.
Execute procedure name, and here we have to pass the values. What are the parameters we have to pass? Can you just tell me? First is what? The input.
E, input
What is the
parameter.
input parameter?
E
One
and
is
amount.
E is what? The employee number. Yes or no, guys? Suppose I'm putting
Yes, sir.
7369. And amount is what? The salary, suppose it is 1000. Yes or no, guys?
1000.
And output parameter,
Yes,
we
sir.
have to use colon, suppose colon K. And this to get the output parameter, we have to first put the output parameter in a variable K number. So first we'll create a variable. So what we'll write here is, we'll just write a variable. So this is a variable which is created. Now we will execute the stored procedure. So what we'll do is, we'll go and execute this procedure and pass these values and then get it into the K value. K is nothing but your output parameter. So now what will happen is, guys, when we execute this stored procedure, we'll get what? We'll get the values. And what is the values, guys? We are getting the particular values. Let us just see this execute procedure name and this values we have given in this particular procedure, and we'll get the respective output. So if we see here, no, if we in this table, or we can just check this print K, then also it will work. Print colon K. If we write like this also, it's fine. Yes. So this is the updated salary. Yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now, since we created the trigger, right? So this trigger also got triggered. Yes or no? Yes. So,
Yeah.
so trigger will always get triggered. Okay. So that is why
Yeah.
we have to drop the trigger. How can we drop the trigger? Can you just tell me?
Drop trigger name.
Trigger name. What is the trigger name we have used? Do you remember that?
TR3,
TR,
TR2,
tier 4.
TR4.
TR4. This is the
Yeah.
trigger name. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
2, 3, 4. There are
Two,
3
three.
triggers, sir, we
Yeah.
created.
No, one trigger is TR4 or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
Let me just drop one no first. Hey, there's no trigger TR4.
Yeah, sir, trigger dropped actually, TR4.
Achha, trigger dropped.
Dropped,
Okay.
yeah.
And okay, so this is the way to drop this. I wanted to show. This you understood or not? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So if you see here, select star from EMP where employee number equals to whatever employee number we have passed. That is, what is the employee number we have passed? We have passed
7369.
So his salary would be incremented by how many?
1000.
By this amount. Okay. First it was salary was 1392. Now its salary is what? 2392. That is what is passing the input parameter. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Input and output parameter we have studied already.
Sir,
No,
in
guys.
output parameter, do we always need to provide the colon?
Yeah, output parameter, and we have to always use the variable to declare it. If we will not declare that, we cannot see the output parameter. Where the output parameter is going, we have to first declare a variable and its data type, and there only we have to see the value. So always we need to use colon there for output parameter.
Okay, sir.
Fine, guys. Now, guys, the thing left is the acid property, okay, and cluster and non-clustered index and cursor. And then your left is what, guys? A regular expression. Okay. So shall I take a 10 minutes class, guys? Let me just complete the regular expression and then we can go for the next one. Right?
Yes, sir.
At least one topic can I take for 10 minutes? Is it fine?
Yeah. Sure, sir.
Okay, sir.
And 3 topics, no, acid property and cursor and index. I will take it tomorrow. Within half an hour, it will be finished. And then half an hour, we'll do the revision, whatever we have learned. And guys, on the 2nd of Jan, we'll start ETL testing. So nice, nothing. Regular expression is a small topic, guys. Regular expression, it specifies a particular pattern to search in a string data. Okay. So particular pattern, we use like operator, we use substring, we use in string. Do you remember that? We
Yes,
use
sir.
replace. All those things is similar to like that only. But here there is a separate way of patterns and separate meta characters and all what we have to understand. Generally, only one query is asked that if it is alphanumeric value, I want to get a particular numbers or character. Because of that, I wanted to touch this topic. So first of all, regular expression is specified pattern to search for in string data using a standard syntax convention. So there's a particular standard syntax conventions. By that, we'll find a particular pattern in a particular string. So in regular expression, what will happen is there are two types of character. One is meta character, one is literal. So literal is the actual character to search for, is a constant value. And meta character is the operator that is specify the algorithm for performing this search. When there's a particular algorithm we have to understand regular expression. So now there are four types of regular expression, guys. Regular expression is called as regexp also. Regular expression like is same like your like operator. We can use it in the where clause. Regular expression to replace a particular characters. Regular expression in string to get a particular position of a string. Regular expression substring to extract the particular string from a particular position. Do you remember substring? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So like that, only regular expression substring is there. So what we have to learn is in the regular expression, guys, is used for to match matching, used for pattern matching or string matching actually. So pattern matching means what? There's a lot of regular expression, guys. Now this is a very huge thing. Few of them I have taken and I have just written, guys. So suppose we want to match a particular pattern or string. So in the bracket, if I write ABC, that means it can be either A or B or C. This is one of the things. In the square bracket, if I write ABC, that means it can be A, B or C. If I write negation of ABC, that means it can be any character apart from what? ABC.
ABC.
This is two things is all mostly used, guys. ABC means it can be A, B or C. Negation of ABC means it can be any character except ABC. A to Z means A to Z, capital A to Z means capital A to Z. A to Z is small and capital A to Z is small means A to Z and A to Z. 0 to 9 means 0 to 9. This is the basic thing what I have taken to match the pattern or a string. So these are the meta characters. Next. Again, we have to understand in a square bracket, if it is question mark, that means what? It can occur 0 or 1 time. If it is a question mark, it can occur 0 or 1 time. If it is a plus sign, that means what? It can occur 1 or more time. So there is difference between this question mark and plus sign. Question mark means occurs 0 or 1 time. Plus means it can occur 1 or more time. Star means what? Occur 0 or more time. Okay. So see, question mark, plus and star, all three are different. Question mark tells occur 0 or 1 time. Either it can occur 0 time, it cannot occur, or it can maximum occur how many times? 1 time. Plus tells it can occur 1 or more time, and star, your multiplication sign tells it can occur 0 or more time. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Question means what? 0 or 1 time. Plus means what? 1 or more time. Multiplication means what?
0
Occur 0 or more time. See now a square bracket and a curly bracket inside that n occurs n number of time. If there is not, it needs to be occur 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Then we have to take a square bracket and a curly bracket and n. Then again a square bracket and a curly bracket and n. And then we can give a comma. That means occur n or more time. It is specifically n time. It is n or more time. We can write it like this. Then again a square bracket y comma z means at least y time but less than z time. That means it can occur at least y time but less than z time. There is some regular expression meta characters like /d means digit. It can be 0 to 9. Capital D, it means what? Apart from 0 to 9, negation of 0 to 9. Small w, that means it can be A to Z, small letter, A to Z, capital letter, or 0 to 9. Capital slash, front slash, capital W, that means it's negation of W, apart from A to Z, or 0 to 9. This backspace tells the computer to treat the following character as such character, okay? And then for this plus or this dot. Okay, so this is a backslash which tells the computer to search a particular character or a particular pattern. I have only one query in this, guys, to extract the character from the string. Okay, so what we will do is we'll see this query. What will happen in this query is, if you see, Yeah. So in this query, if you see, this is what? Characters, this is numbers. Yes or no, guys?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
there with me?
Yes, sir.
So if I am writing negation of
Yeah.
0,9, that means what, guys?
Not
We-
0 to 9.
No, we want only 0 to 9 and rest just remove that. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See what it is telling. This is number, right? This is character. This is negation of 0 to 9 means what? You replace rest of the things with nothing and just give us what? Numbers. And for characters, what will happen? We want A to Z, small or capital, A to Z. Just keep it and rest, just remove it. That is what is the thing. We can write this like this also. See, this is understand, this is just a character. Now, comma, in this bracket, negation of 0 to 9, we don't need to write anything here. This is number. I have given the alias name as number, comma. Regular expression, replace all this character. Negation of what? A to Z, small or capital. This should be there and rest, just replace it with nothing. Just remove that. Okay, fine. This will be treated as character. I have written the name as alias name as character from the dual. Now just execute this query and see. Only the numbers has come here and only the characters has come. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
This is what is the query. Very important. Every time they are giving alphanumeric values and they're telling to extract the numbers and extract the characters. You have to know regular regexp underscore replace. Then in this square bracket, negation of 0 to 9. That means only 0 to 9. Just keep it and replace whatever rest is there with nothing. Nothing we have given, that means blank. It will be removed. Here also regexp replace this character. I want small a to z and capital A to z and rest just remove it. That will be treated as character. I'll get the character. Am I clear, guys, till here? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine, guys. Tomorrow there are few topics which were left. Okay, like your cursor is left, acid property is left. Okay, and then what is left, guys? Cursor, acid property, and cursor, and that's all. Acid property and cursor are left, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think only acid property and cursor is left, and yeah, this ER diagram is left, and code rule. These are 4 theoretical topics, guys, which will be finished in the first half in half an hour. And then we will revise whatever we have studied and few more important queries like finding the middle record or finding the last 2 records and the common queries like alternate records and all we will discuss. And then, guys, we'll close the SQL syllabus tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last class for SQL. Please attend. Okay. And then on 2nd, we will start the ETL test. Fine, guys. Any doubts?
No,
No,
no, sir.
Did you